We're on part 2 of our Canadian fly-in fishing trip with Mandatory Fun Outdoors. It's going to be fun because there's going to be a lot more walleye fishing, a lot more competition, and a really neat trip with some of the senior leaders and our hosts from Latrell Lake Lodge. So stay tuned.
And join us as we share the story of our Cedar Falls Scheels Hometown Hero, Leonard Luft.
American Heroes Outdoors shares the stories of our nation's true heroes, a documentation of journey, commitment, struggle, and healing. A glimpse into the sacrifice and bravery of our servicemen and women. This is American Heroes Outdoors.
Today we have a little adventure in store. We've got our generals here with us today, and of course our trusty guide Jeff from Latrell Lake Lodge, and we are going to do a little portage, if you will, into another lake. So what do you guys think? Are you ready to go?
Pumped up.
They look like they're ready to go,
Let's
don't
go.
they?
We're burning daylight. You go.
We are heading out. Stay tuned. We have a lot of fun things to show you.
We'll get all this stuff and bring it over to the house when you're done. I'm Major General retired Ben Carell, enlisted into the Iowa National Guard and as a private in January of 1986. And I retired in March of 2023. In 1994, I took command of a infantry company in Owine, Iowa. Got promoted to captain and earned my baccalaureate degree by going to night school 2 nights a week for 3 years, working 60 hours a week and volunteering on the local ambulance service. The governor of Iowa called and asked me if I'd be interested in taking over as the adjutant general for the state of Iowa, where again I didn't hesitate and I said absolutely. And I soon found myself in charge of over 9,000 soldiers and airmen from the Iowa National Guard, and I did that for 3 years and just retired in March of this year. At Camp Shelby, Mississippi, the brigade out of Minnesota mobilized. We spent 6 months training down there. Brigadier General, now Brigadier retired, Bill Leader, was one of those battalion commanders along with me, and Bill and I hit it off. We developed a friendship over time. When we were in Iraq, we suffered together. We lost soldiers together, and we've had just a strong relationship. This has been on my bucket list. I grew up hunting and fishing. I love to hunt, I love to fish, and coming to Canada and flying into a lake full of walleyes, this is something that I've dreamed about. I've been all over the world doing a lot of hard things, and when I have a bad day I can close my eyes and think about me sitting on water somewhere with a fishing pole in my hand. So this has been good therapy. It's been a great opportunity for me and those that are with me to come out here to the outdoors in a very remote location that not too many people get to see and enjoy God's creation. We're away from stressors within whatever it is that you do at home, whether you're still working, whether you're retired. This is just a great opportunity to get together with those that served and sacrificed, share some stories, tell a few lies, and just recharge.
Tell us about that big pike.
Well, I'm sure it's the biggest one that anybody's going to catch the entire time. It may be the biggest one that's ever been caught here. I'm not sure. But it was catch and release all the way. Put up a great fight. I had a trained quality person to net it, and we got it out. We didn't have a tape with us, which was probably a failure to plan everything that we needed. But I'm sure it's the biggest one that anybody's going to catch here. It was great.
Why not, right?
Okay.
My name is William Leader. My rank in the Minnesota Army National Guard was Brigadier General. My military career started in the Harvard of the North, St. Cloud State University, in the Fighting Saints Battalion for the Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC. I served in the military police for most of my career. I was deployed to Bosnia, with the division back in 2003. And from there I went on to be a battalion commander, where I was with the 1st of the 34th Brigade Combat Team in Iraq, where we served for over 16 months in Iraq. Found out about this trip from Mandatory Fun Outdoors through Chip Rankin, who gave me a call and asked if I'd be interested to go to Canada to do some fly fishing. This was always on my bucket list as something I wanted to do, so I was super excited to go, and obviously want to thank Mandatory Fun Outdoors for inviting me, and for the Clarks and their generosity of having us come here. It's been really cool to be able to experience going through these rivers and portages. It was just so beautiful. And I told Jeff as we were there, I said, if people that don't believe in God should just come and sit here, because you can't sit there and say there is no God. It's just beautiful. Trips like this are important for veterans because we get to be together again, and we get to talk and reminisce and talk about our stories. You know, I think the outdoors, at least for me, is a way for you to reflect and to think about where you've been and where you're going. And when you're sitting in a boat in the middle of nowhere with your battle buddy, it just makes you reflect on what's important in life. It makes you make some decisions about what you're going to do when you leave.
The weather was beautiful.
It was mandatory fun.
It's mandatory. It's mandatory. That's right. All right, well, that's all we got for now, and we'll check in again later.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by Skeeter Boats and Yamaha Outboards, Scheels, Disabled American Veterans, Woodland Resort, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store and Ice Castle Fish Houses, Minn Kota and Hummingbird, Innovativesign&graffix, S&S Promotional Group, and Base Camp Country Real Estate.
Designed for deep water and big waves, the Skeeter WX series offers no compromise performance, and the Solaris series brings the whole family together. Proven with 21 consecutive NMMA Consumer Satisfaction Awards. When you're ready to rule the water regardless of the conditions, the WX series will take you where you want to go in style, comfort, and safety. Bringing your family closer together fishing or skiing, the Solaris series can do it all. Skeeter, it's more than just a boat, it's a lifestyle.
I started and run an organization called Mandatory Fun Outdoors. So Mandatory Fun Outdoors takes veterans and their families, depending on which event we have going, and we do outdoor adventures for them, providing opportunities, outdoor opportunities, and just giving them a little R&R and getting them outside. Jeff had said that it's too shallow to get into Allison Lake, because we have to go through the rapids and portage and all this stuff. And of course, me being me, I said, well, I want to go. We went and portaged and went through some really shallow water where we had to get out. And by we, I mean the generals had to get out and push us through. That was fun. We got pictures. Fishing yesterday with the two generals was amazing. They served together. To see them sitting on a rock fishing like, you know, two little 10-year-old boys fishing for sunfish, it was pretty special. Most of the time on our events, we get somebody that will back out. I've never had an event where a veteran hasn't backed out. And, you know, it breaks my heart, because I know that the person backing out is probably the person that needs it the most. And the response is always, somebody else needs it more than I do. If you have served your country, you deserve this. And that's why we do these things. We do these events because we appreciate their sacrifice, their time away from home, their time away from their families, their deer seasons that they miss, and fishing seasons that they miss, and the stuff that they didn't get to do while they were serving. And so it's fun for us to do these things for them, and they say, oh, somebody deserves it more than I do. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it. We were gonna do a little fun little spoof for retired Colonel St. Saber from American Heroes Outdoors, because he didn't get to come on our little adventure. And he kind of had his little bottom lip sticking out a little bit. So we had Will put the microphone on and record us, and we were going to do a little message for Scott on how awesome the trip was and how much fun we were having, and that we're really sorry he couldn't be here. Well, Scott, wish you could be here, buddy.
Miss you.
You don't know what it's like catching all these fish. Oof.
I'm sure you're having fun too,
Like,
though, losing another
I mean, my arm is actually tired.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay, Ben.
oh, doubles! Double!
Triple!
And just like that, I don't remember how it went, but somebody caught a fish, and then somebody else caught a fish, and we're like, woo, doubles! And then somebody else caught a fish before the first fish was even in the boat, so we had a triple. And then just like that, I think Jeff was the last one, caught a fish, so we had 4 fish on while the camera was rolling. But it was pretty incredible, and that's just how the day went. It was fishing like I'd never experienced before. You can find Mandatory Fun Outdoors on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Follow us. We are posting events all the time. Sign up. Please sign up for them. We take new people first. We do have some repeat people once they've come and they think, hey, that was pretty fun. I'll do that again. So sign up. Continue to sign up, and come and do these trips. And the best thing you can do is come to an event, experience it, go back home and tell your other veteran friends and family, and tell them you had a good time, and send them our way, and we'll do the same for them. And we want to help everybody. We know we can't help everybody, but it doesn't mean we're not going to try to help everybody.
My first name is Carla, K-A-R-L-A, last name Clark.
And my name is Wayne Clark. We started in the bait business originally, and it went pretty well. And then we bought our first drive-in camp over on Indian Lake Chain over there, and so we had a place to park our float plane. And then from there, we just kept expanding. And then we have 30 fly-in outposts, plus Latrell here. We have a great staff along with our family, so we have a great staff that stays with us. So it's all about keeping them busy, keeping them in work, and being able to give them full-time jobs. And yeah.
Retirement's never been on our radar. We love what we do.
So we have something for everybody. We have Anishinaabe Lodge, where we have great trout fishing, where we own a 5-acre island there, and we've got 4 cabins on the island, and it's just a real cool place also. So we have everything. Well, we look for opportunities for good people, good causes to give something back. 99% of our business comes from the U.S. That's our livelihood.
I'm originally from the U.S.
Yeah. So it gives us a chance to give something back to the U.S. And it was a really good cause, we thought, and we're just very pleased to be able to do it.
So our website is clarksresorts.com, Clarks with an S, Resorts with an S, and there's a link for Latrell Lodge on our website. They can also reach us toll-free at 1-866-744-2154. So they can go on our website. There's a link to our email on our website as well, and it shows Latrell, it shows all the rest of our outposts as well as our drive-in camps, and all our contact information's on there.
Yeah, and then we do the trade shows too in the Midwest in the wintertime. They can visit us there also.
Well, folks, that wraps it up here at Latrell Lake Lodge in Ontario. We're just waiting for the float planes to come in. We've had one heck of a great week up here with 6 amazing veterans. Great stories, a lot of them, a lot of fish, a lot of walleyes, a lot of pike. I mean, 100 fish days. Yesterday, one of the guys, they went out and they had 97, 2 guys in a boat, 97 walleyes in a day. If you're looking for fishing, Clark's Outposts and Aviation out here, and Latrell Lake Lodge is the place to go. So until next week, stay tuned.
DAV of Minnesota Outdoor Program.
The DAV of Minnesota, fulfilling the promises to the men and women who served. The healing powers of nature is vital for veterans when they can no longer get themselves into the outdoors or just don't have the resources to do so. DAV of Minnesota designs programs to bring veterans together in a natural setting. Visit davmn.org.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
And now it's time for our next Scheels Hometown Hero, Leonard Luft.
It's fun. It's fun to get to do this kind of stuff. He always stands off into the side and never takes any credit for anything.
Welcome to Scheels Hometown Heroes.
Scheels Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks to those that serve our country and our community.
And are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at Scheels, thank you for your service.
I had a lot of law enforcement in my neighborhood. I grew up with the chief of police, a deputy, and also state trooper. Liked the military books and stuff like that. I always just kind of wanted to be in the military. In '96, when I was out in Seward, Nebraska, I enlisted out there in the Nebraska Army National Guard.
He told me when we first started dating was, I am going to make a career out of the military. At the time, didn't understand what that meant, but I was thinking, oh, if it's something you would love, then it's something I'll love.
When I first got in, I was an enlisted infantry soldier, and then when we moved back to Iowa, I joined the Iowa Army National Guard, and then I was working at the Gordo County Sheriff's Office in Basin City, Iowa, for about 9 months. And then there was a job opening that came open in Charles City, and was hired here in January of 2001.
When we moved back to Iowa to start our family, and Lenny said he wanted to be a law enforcement officer, I knew right away that it was the career path for him. He had always lived a life of service, and I knew it fit him perfectly, and he would do a really good job.
You hear a lot about Lenny doing one thing or another. Everybody knows Lenny, and he's sort of like our Norm from Cheers. Every time Lenny goes anywhere, everybody's like, hey Luft, hey Lenny. Everybody has something to say to him. So we were partners for a lot of years.
I ended up being the family readiness group leader in our area to try to help other families that were going through the separation of their spouses being in deployment. You know, that helped, having a community or a group of ladies that really stuck together during those times of deployment. But I also come from an incredible community that also supported me, and our community has embraced our family in every aspect of the word. A big part of that would be when we lost our son in 2017. They came around us in a huge way, and I don't think we would have made it through it without them. On July 4th, 2017, we just gotten done watching the parade downtown here in Charles City. Logan had met up with some friends and wanted to go to one of their homes to celebrate the holiday. He went one way, and then we went home to have a barbecue. And we had just sat down to eat, and it hadn't been very long when his phone went off, and I saw him jump up and kind of run towards the house.
A friend of mine here at the police department called me that day and told me, hey, there's an accident, so you need to come, right now. So we did.
By the time we got down there, they were just loading Logan in the back of the ambulance. I remember Lenny jumped out and kind of went into cop mode and was kind of assessing the accident. And me as a mom, I jumped in the back of the ambulance to be with Logan.
Rallied around Logan, and he got loaded into the ambulance, went to the ER, and everybody was there. A lot of family, friends, law enforcement, both the city and the county guys were there in the ER.
We went from there up to Mayo Clinic to St. Mary's. After they told us there was nothing that they could do, the first thing they asked us was, would you consider organ donation? And for us, we had just had that conversation with them not that long before that. So it was a really easy decision for us to make. We're such a competitive family that it was one of those things where they said, potentially he could save up to, 7 people. And so we were kind of like, well, then we're going to save 8. It was one of those things where I don't care what it takes, but we're going to save them all.
Before the funeral, I went and I went to check in on Lenny, and he talked about the organ donation and just really how meaningful it was that they were able to make something good out of such a tragedy of losing Logan.
Lenny came home one day and said, I have this great idea. I think we should write a law that would allow people to sign up to be an organ donor on their hunting and fishing license, and we could call it Logan's Law. And I thought, that's an incredible idea. And he said, I heard that another state did it, and I think it would be perfect for us. I think it'd be perfect for Logan.
So Logan's Law basically is when you go to get your license, your hunting fishing license or your fair bearers license, the ability to sign up to be an organ donor. And also for the first time hunter that has to go through hunter safety course, there's a video clip, and then also there's an educational material on what an organ donor is and what the expectation is when you do check that block.
At the end of the day, it passed the legislature, the House and the Senate, not a vote against it, 100%.
And it's not for everybody, but at the end of the day, make that choice now and make that choice known, because I know that made it easier for us in the end.
The thing that kept us from losing control of our grief at that point was just the knowing that the good was going to come from it.
And not everybody wants to make that choice, but the people that do, as long as it saves one person's life, it's worth it in the end.
Every once in a while I get an update from the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. They tell me how many people have signed up to be an organ donor through the hunting and fishing license program, and it's in the thousands. And you just think, it was like, what a legacy. Here's a father that lost his oldest son, and he turned a tragedy into something that gave hope to a lot of people. And it will continue to help people. I mean, I think that's like the very essence of service, right?
What an awesome episode that was. Scott, usually the second episode or the sequel to something isn't as good as the first one, but I would argue that one was even better than the first one, just getting to know them a little bit more in depth.
Well, and I agree, because I didn't go on that outpost trip, so that was all our cameraman with those guys and all natural. So, it was really those guys on that trip with our hosts, and then of course the scenery up there, the fly in, the fly out. I can't tell you, and we can't thank Mandatory Fun Outdoors enough, and Clark's Fly-In Outdoor Outfitters up there. Armstrong, Ontario, they did amazing for us, and all of that was out of the goodness of their hearts, and the owners up there are just tremendous. So if you can, you got to get up there. It's an amazing adventure.
Well, and you talk about organizations, and I can't wait for this next episode too. We're heading to central Minnesota to another organization called Camp Bliss. And that's a place where stories come from. I mean, the events that they host for veterans and for other organizations are phenomenal. And our trips with Camp Bliss, we did an ice fishing event, we did a women's retreat, we did a turkey hunt. So they host a ton of events out there up in central Minnesota, and I can't wait to get out there and showcase what they do for our nation's heroes. So stay tuned.